So in this lesson, I'm going to be talking about the concept of EQ flipping and swapping and how it can help your mixes. So for our purposes here, what I have is a song that is actually not fully complete, but it is a cover of a song from the soundtrack to the Netflix show Stranger Things. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty awesome. But again, I'll just play a little bit for you here so you get an idea of what the original is, and then I will play you a little bit of what I'm working on, and then we'll discuss the technique. So, and what problem we want to solve. So here's what we're working with. Okay, so that's that. I really love that track. That's awesome. So this is what I'm working on right now. Okay, so it is very much a reimagining sort of dance track to this. But if you listen to that, maybe you realized what the issue is. Well, if you didn't, the problem I'm having is that these two synths I'm using are occupying a lot of the same frequencies, and it's kind of hard to discern the differences between them. They're not standing on their own. And what can happen here is, especially if you're using things like multiple guitars in a mix, or you are using multiple bass elements, if you have instruments that their tonal essence, the key frequencies in their spectrum are the same, even if they're playing different notes, it can be hard to discern between them. And how you can solve that problem is by utilizing EQ flipping or swapping. And that's what I'm going to do here. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you know what the tonal essence is of your instrument. So if you haven't used that interactive frequency chart, definitely check that out because that can provide a lot of information for you. You may automatically know what it is. You can also make use of EQ sweeping, not only to find problematic frequencies, but you can also find your tonal essence frequencies that are awesome, that are the ones you want to emphasize. Or you can alternatively use an analyzer like this and get an idea of where your frequencies are, where the tonal essence of it is. So I've done that, and I've kind of identified my tonal essences here. I know there's lots of low end, and that's what I like. I've also identified that around 200 for this, as well as for the synth pop strings. I have that. And so what you do here is you do this swapping, and essentially what that's all about, and it's not even too important to select the perfect place on the frequency spectrum, but what you do is you make opposite moves. So what I've done here is, if you see, I'm cutting here, starting at about 160, and then here, and actually 156, so I'd actually move that over. I'm boosting, I'm doing the exact opposite, and I'm boosting it about 5 dB, cutting it about 5 dB. I have another move here. Again, this is actually just a little off. Got to fix that. About 200. And I'm actually cutting a little more than I want to. 4.5, I'm making a cut. At about 200, 4.5 making a boost. And you don't have to do it quite this way. Again, as long as you're getting a majority of the frequencies in there, and you do the opposite move. Boost one, cut the other. Do it to taste. This one, I want this to occupy more of the lower frequencies because it's more of a bass element, and I want this to be more of my melody. So I'm allowing this to have more cuts on the lower end, and I'm sorry, this one to be more boosted on the lower end because I want this bright synth string to be our bass element. Now, I've done these two things again, so I've done this swapping. Now watch as I play it and tell me if you, you can't really tell me. Now, listen as I play it, and you should be able to hear things more clearly. Can you hear that? Because to me, it stands out much more, and they are feeling much more separate and unique. And that is flipping and swapping. Again, the frequencies don't have to be perfect. I suggest that you focus around the tonal essence of the spectrum and focus on those sweet spots, but it does not have to be perfect. It can be almost arbitrary in some sense. The point is make the opposite moves, and they don't have to be particularly big moves. I think at most 4.5 dB. You could do maybe even less than that. The idea is just making that move to separate the two tracks. So check that out.